the Riviera.
And with any luck, we'd miss the whole of Mary's frightful film.
I do hope that was a prop.
You steer ahead. You're the captain now.
They better be warned. The British are coming.
Welcome to the Villa of the Doves.
It's a beautiful place.
How happy you must be.
Oh, my goodness.
Who is she?
The Lady Grantham I first went to work for.
Granny.
Why did you invite us here?
It doesn't look good from afar if she felt the need to keep it a secret.
There's trouble in paradise. You don't need me to tell you that marriage is a novel full of plot twists along the way.
Women like us fall into two categories, dragons and fools. You must make sure they think of you as a dragon. But with that, I will say goodnight and leave you to discuss my mysterious past.
Downton Abbey, A New Era, premieres Saturday, March 25th, 9 p.m. on HBO.
The TVWAN News is proudly brought to you by
BSP, our bank, our people.
Hello, I'm Carol Kido Jr.
And I'm Jasmine. Join me for sports news later in the bulletin.
In this edition, country needs foreign currency daily, green tree frogs released, and Morabe Rugby Union heads into finals weekend. Electoral Commissioner Simon Sinai has put losing candidates on notice, announcing that the Commission will soon proceed to implement court orders for parties to pay court-awarded costs. He said the Commission will work with the Attorney General and police to implement those court orders to recover costs to the state. Sinai said the Attorney General and the courts by now should review the qualification rights for election petitions so that persons with interest to file an election petition should have the standing to take up election petition proceedings in court. He said these are some of the control measures towards reducing the overwhelming number of election petitions after every election. PNG has a high demand to import goods and services for consumers, business and governments. To facilitate these purchases, the country continuously needs foreign currency on a daily basis. Economics lecturer from UPNG, Kelly Samoff, explains that on the supply side, the main sources of foreign currency are receipts from exports and payments from resource companies such as royalties.
Speaking at the media briefing on foreign exchange today, UPNG economics lecturer Kelly Samoff says given the country's small and relatively underdeveloped manufacturing sector, there is a high demand to import a variety of manufactured goods for households and business use. However, the supply of foreign currency into PNG has not been sufficient, leading to a chronic forex shortage. He explained that to deal with this, the Bank of PNG began to ration forex. However, this has led to a large backlog of unmet orders and delays in access to forex. In terms of the supply and demand of foreign currency, there has been a chronic shortage of forex since 2014. Since 2015, BPNG has been rationing the market's access to forex to deal with the shortage instead of allowing the exchange rate to depreciate. Samoff says this has led to a large backlog of unmet orders and also delays in the processing of forex orders. He added that BPNG must smoothen the supply of forex to match the daily demand. Otherwise, there would be longer periods, excess demand of forex leading to exchange rate appreciation when there is a large inflow of forex, and exchange rate depreciation when there are short periods of excess supply. Mr. Semov further clarified that it is important that BPNG stabilizes the exchange rate to limit exposure to exchange rate risk. He also stated that there are different policies being discussed to address the forex shortage, for example, requiring SOEs and businesses to remit all revenues to PNG. Mr. Semov warned that whichever policy is implemented will need to deal with the structural mismatch between demand and supply and deal with it quickly. Freddie Mo, TVWAN News.
Lady Emmeline Dadai met with contestants of the 2023 Miss Hirihanenamo pageant ahead of the Hirimole Festival at a luncheon on Thursday. Lady Dadai spoke about the festival's cultural significance and encouraged the contestants to value their heritage despite societal changes, stating that the Hiri trade was significant to Central and Gulf people, enabling peaceful coexistence, and commended the contestants and urged them to continue valuing their traditional way of life. Lady Dadai and Grand Chief Sir Bob Dadai are honorary guests at the festival, which concludes with the crowning of the 2023 Hirihanenamo Queen on Sunday at Sir Hubert Murray Stadium. Minister for Works and Highways Solan Mirisim is impressed with the progress of the Sustainable Highlands Highways investment program from Nadzab turnoff in Morobe to Kagamuba, turnoff in the Western Highlands province. The minister was accompanied by Secretary David Were and a team of project engineers, contractors and staff of the department on a site inspection tour on March 1st, starting from Mount Hagen all the way to Nadzab.
The Sustainable Islands Highway Investment Program is a 10-year program seeing the repair, rehabilitation and maintenance of 430 kilometers of the Islands Highway from Nadzab turnoff in Morobe to Kagamuga turnoff in the Western Islands Province. Minister for Works and Highways Solan Mirisim led a delegation on March 1st for site inspection starting from Western Islands and ended in Nadzab. Mirisim was impressed with the scope of work and praised the contractors, project managers and staff from the department who worked hand in hand to deliver this important program. However, he also urged both the contractor and project engineer from the Department of Works and Highways to continue to progress the remaining balance of the work before handing it over to the national government. He said the government is committed to provide full funding support to see the completion of this program. The national government has negotiated a multi-tranche financing facility with the Asia Development Bank and secure loan financing for the improvement of the current state of the Islands Highway. Successful negotiations led to the conception of the Sustainable Islands Highway Investment Program. SHHIP program has been implemented under 3 separate tranches at the project ceiling of $1 billion or 3.6 billion kina. ADB has committed $650 million. The government has counterfund with $200 million, whilst co-financier DFAT contributed $150 million. The program has seen major repair, rehabilitation and maintenance of a total length of 430 kilometers. Freddie Mo, TVWAN News.
Traveling or transporting goods and services to remote areas of Bogia Medang province is an ongoing struggle for its people due to poor roads. Constantine Deton, a PNV operator from Giri village, said the feeder road starting from Kakum towards Giri and its neighboring villages is deteriorating and in dire need of maintenance. He said as a PNV owner providing transportation services to the villages in this area, it is a daily struggle. Daton revealed that it takes 7 to 8 hours from the villages of Giri and Mikaru to reach Madang town. The PNV operator said youths from Giri village and nearby areas have patched big potholes along the feeder road to assist their people in their struggles posed by the road condition, which has hindered the people to access basic services in town. The Japanese Technical Cooperation Project for Promotion of Regional Initiative for Solid Waste Management in the Pacific Island countries has now begun Phase 3. The signing of the agreement for Phase 3 is between the counterparts Japanese International Cooperation Agency, Conservation and Environment Protection Authority, and the National Capital District Commission. The project aims to improve public dump sites in NCDC and 4 ULLGs in PNG.
Phase 3 of the Japanese Technical Cooperation Project for Promotion of Regional Initiative for Solid Waste Management in the Pacific Island countries has now officially begun. The signing of the agreement for Phase 3 between the counterparts, Japanese International Cooperation Agency, Conservation and Environment Protection Authority, and the National Capital District Commission. According to SIPA's Director of Non-Renewable Division, Michael Wau, the project aims to improve public dump sites in NCD and 4 ULLGs in PNG.
This program, it's been with us for the last 5 years or so. I understand this is going to be the third phase. So we are privileged to have JICA and the Japanese people and the government to help support us through this very important project.
NCD City Manager Ravu Frank stated that waste is everybody's business and was essential to begin work for Phase 3.
Phase 3 of the J-Prism project aims to support for improvement of public open dump site at 4 ULLGs and support for development of expansion plan of Baruni dump site and its implementation. After we sign the record of discussion today, all partners will work together once more to achieve the desired output under this project and within the set 5-year period.
He added that in Phase 1 of this regional project, they were able to change the Baruni dam site to a landfill site and strengthened capacity with NCDC. In Phase 2, a city-to-city cooperation agreement signed as an MOU between NCDC and the 4 ULLGs Kokopo, Alotau, Lei and Goroka. Jasmine Ero, TVWAN News.
During the signing of agreement for Phase 3 of the JPRISM project, Japanese Ambassador to PNG Nobuyuki Watanabe is impressed with the work so far. Since the beginning of Phase 1 in 2011 to 2016 and 2017, with Phase 2 until last year, the work has been flowing with the collaborating partners SEPA, JICA and NCDC. Watanabe added that Japan cooperated with PNG in the areas of forestry, fisheries, education and health, including COVID-19 response as well as infrastructure such as roads, airports and electricity. In NCD, JICA have supported the development of sewage systems, school buildings and fish markets and so on.
In support in the area of waste management without interruption. In March last year, I had the opportunity to visit the Baruni dump site, which was improved in Phase 1, together with Mr. Paul Parkop, Governor of NCD, and Mr. Ravi Frank, City Manager of NCD. The dump site was equipped with the Fukuoka method, which is a landfill technology invented in Japan, and a weigh bridge that can measure the weight of waste brought in. I felt that this support contributes to the improvement of waste management capacity in the.
This is TV1 News. When we return, Morabe hosted PPC parade and green tree frogs released.
With BSP Internet Banking, you can enjoy your banking at home, at work, or wherever you are. BSP Personal Internet Banking allows you to view your accounts and transactions, transfer money, bill pay, schedule future payments, or access your bank statements. Visit your nearest BSP branch to register now. BSP Internet Banking, the smarter way to bank. BSP, our bank, our people.
Great Crusade of Miracles and Power with Pastor Jonathan Pine.
I can't hear well. So what I did, I put the miracle water inside and I kept on praying, spraying all the time and praying at the same time. So now I can hear you whisper out there too. I can tell you what you're whispering about.
Join us at Sir Ignatius College Sports Stadium on Saturday, March 4th at 10 a.m. Call now to reserve your seat. 7422-9960 or 7899-8678.
We see you day in, day out, getting on with the job. Coming out on top because you're not one to back down. From the islands to highlands, from the southern to the north, we see you moving heaven and earth to move our country forward. And at the end of the day, we will be there to serve Papua New Guineans who achieve success with the reward they deserve.
Open Nets. Right across the nation, we eat snacks crackers. Emi trupla. All get a young planalapun, only like him snacks crackers. Only make him here, no PNG, one time lay biscuit company. It's crunchy and tasty. It's irresistible.
Axion, the grease stripper is more powerful than ever before. It is now 100% effective in grease removal. Every concentrated dab is packed with grease and oil stripping power. A breakthrough dishwashing solution. Axion has 100% effective grease stripping power. No oiliness, no bad odor, no struggle. This is the best grease stripping.
It's that time again. Scale Rise is giving you the chance to win some Scale School money for 2023. Over 220 winners. 4 fortnightly draws, that's 55 fortnightly winners. Cash prizes starting at 1,000 kina, 2,000 kina, 3,000 kina. They also have consolation prizes of 500 kina. Buy any Scale Rise or Ori Rise to enter the promotion for your chance to win the Scale School money. Terms and conditions apply. Scale Rise,
the brain changer.
Welcome back. The Morabe Rural Command hosted the first Provincial Police Commanders Parade today at the Eriku Oval. Host PPC Superintendent Jacob Singura inspected the parade in the presence of Assistant Commissioner of Police, Northern Command, Peter Guinness. The first Morabe Provincial Police Command Parade of 2023 was hosted this morning at the Eriku Oval. Parade Sergeant Major Senior Sergeant Matthew Kawa led the two companies comprising of 3 squads each to the arena before handing over to the parade commander, Inspector Saki Boki. The first company was made up of provincial trained reservists, highway patrol and members from the police stations of Mutsing, Zephasing, Natsap, Buana, Wau and Menyama. The second company comprised of Mobile Squad 15, Water Police and the Criminal Investigation Division. After inspecting the parade, Provincial Police Commander Superintendent Jacob Singura said parades are crucial for disseminating first-hand information to the officers, as most of them are based outside of the headquarters in Leh.
Many times we send messages through black and white. Some members do have the time to read, while others don't. So through such parades, you will get information straight, direct, face to face. That is one essential element of a disciplined organization.
PPC Singura further outlined that this year has been declared as a year of law and order by the national government, where the Royal PNG Constabulary received 550 million kina, a 27.07% increase from 2022.
And has been taken fully on board by the Commissioner and his executive. What it means is for us to embrace it and appreciate the fact that the government for a long time has not funded the organization well. And with this massive funding, it calls for all of us to play our part. That is for us to work, commit ourselves loyally, with discipline, with honesty, and with transparency. We have to play our part so that what the government spends on us is materialized. It must be seen that we are happy, and the government, when the government makes us happy, we've got to perform.
PPC Singura outlined that some of the positive development within the RPNGC include the refurbishment of the Bomana Police College, which is now called the Center of Excellence, the recruitment of 500 police officers to boost manpower, a refleeting exercise to replace the aging vehicles, and pay increments scheduled for this year. He appealed to his officers to commit themselves to their duties, adding the door is open to those who do not wish to operate within their code of conduct. As per the Police Commissioner's directive, the Morobe Provincial Police Commander has withdrawn all personnel at logging camps. PPC Jacob Singura said all personnel under his command should be back at their respective stations by now.
This is a lawful order from the Commissioner of Police, and I'm enforcing it to ensure that there are no police officers out there lying lazy up at the logging camps. You and I should be doing police work. That is done, and we will have no more police officers out at the logging camps.
Morobe Provincial Police Commander Superintendent Jacob Singura said his command's performance in February 2023 was not pleasing. He outlined that from the 45 major crimes that were reported last month, only 2 arrests were made. Superintendent Jacob Singura, Morobe PPC.
Which were reported for the month of February, we have 182. Arrest 45. And pending 138. My question here is, does this reflect what we are doing? This reflects poorly on our performance, I must say. If I have been fighting hard with police headquarters to bring you fuel, now you have fuel of your own, I do not expect these results. These results should be much, much better. You have your own fuel to provide a service to the people. This is not good enough. You work or you ship out. Find another job. If I can play my part, you have to play your part as well. Let's all work together to improve on these very terrible results.
The Kokoda Track Foundation's Archer Leadership Program held a graduation ceremony acknowledging the 9 Archer leaders of 2022 and the welcoming of 11 new cohorts for 2023. The event was held at the Airways Hotel with key speeches by MKA Chairman Daddy Toka Jr., KTF CEO Dr. Genevieve Nelson, and Governor for Oro Gary Jufa, joined by donors and supporters of the Archer Leadership Program. The Kokoda Track Foundation held its 2022 Archers graduation and the announcement of its 2023 cohorts at the Airways Hotel in Port Moresby. In its 13th year, the Archer leaders continue to find and foster the next generation of leaders in PNG, which is generously supported by the Fred P. Archers Trust, managed by the Perpetual Trustees, Newcrest Sustainability Fund, and Kina Bank, who is the newest supporter of Archers. In his opening remarks, Chairman of Motu Koita Assembly Dade Toka Jr. said since he took up his role in 2018, MKA has made education one of its key pillars, with the goal to provide quality education to its indigenous people from elementary to tertiary level.
And when we did that, I didn't have to look very far in order to find the right partnerships to pursue the outcomes that I was after. Was able to spend some time with Dr. Nelson and her team, and without much hesitation, we built the first food center at Hanwabata village. And that's been running for the last 3 years. I think we've had over nearly 150 students that have gone through the food center, and that's just a testament of what a good partnership looks like. And I've been fortunate enough to spend some time with the Archer leaders, as mentioned earlier on. It's a program that I support, and a program that I think has a lot of potential as well.
KTF Chief Executive Officer Dr. Genevieve Nelson delivered a speech at the graduation ceremony for the 2022 Archers and the announcement of the 2023 cohort. She thanked the special guests, partners, supporters and donors of Archer leaders for their continuous support.
Tonight we are here to celebrate our amazing Archer leaders. It's been the greatest privilege over the last 13 years to work with young leaders whose visions for their country are bold, ambitious and innovative. The Archer journey is a unique one, taking students right out of their comfort zones to broaden perspectives, challenge mindsets and create networks that give these young leaders a platform to create impactful change. And with our generous supporters this year, we've been able to expand our number of positions on the program to 11.
KTF has expanded in Kokoda and Ora Province, enrolling 260 FODE students, opening Mount Koyari FODE Center, supporting 14 aid posts and providing health worker training. KTF partners with the PNG SDP to educate Western Province, opening Balimo Teachers College, delivering FODE to 470-plus students and enrolling 750-plus students, and installed 7,000 household solar systems and offers FODE Second Chance education for teaching and health work. The Kokoda Track Foundation welcomed 11 new young leaders to its Archer Leadership Development Program and graduated the 2022 cohort at a special ceremony in Port Moresby last night. Present at the celebrations to deliver his remark was Governor of Ora Province, Gary Juffa, who said he was on a recruitment drive encouraging the young leaders to consider a life in politics.
I'd like to encourage some of you to consider a life in politics. That's right. Oftentimes we don't hear about people going out and encouraging young people to go into politics. When I see these young leaders, I know that PNG is in safe hands. Yes, we have challenges, we have difficulties. What country doesn't? But when I look at the young rising up, I know that we're in safe hands. And they're so smart.
Port Moresby Nature Park observed the World Wildlife Day today, emphasizing on the theme Partnership for Wildlife Conservation by inviting the media as one critical partner in the conservation of wildlife to observe the release of a green tree frogs. These green tree frogs were hatched and nurtured by the Nature Park wildlife officers and kept in a protective environment before releasing them back into the wild. In observance of the World Wildlife Day today, the Port Moresby Nature Park invited the media as partners in the nature conservation to witness the release of young green tree frogs into the wild. Wildlife officer specialized in frogs, snakes and lizards at the Port Moresby Nature Park, Ryan Riuma, said the frog release program is the second of its kind being done in the park.
We are celebrating strong partnerships with the NGOs around the world. I'll just name a few. With around the world, such as America's Association of Zoos, that's ANZ, and we also have Aquarium Safe. SAFE stands for Saving Animals from Extinction. They help us conserve like PNG unique tree kangaroos. This is what Carol's doing right now.
He said in PNG it is home of 355 species of frogs. That's about 5% of the world's frogs. Their research work is in collaboration with Amphibian Ark at Macquarie University, South Australia.
So what we do, we've got two phases. The first one we're currently on, that is to perfect the assembly technique of the staff. So we try to breed and release the common frogs that are around the park that we find commonly around. And then from there, we will work our way to the most at-risk frogs.
The team led the media to the breeding area of the amphibians, where a selected 5 green tree frogs were released into the wild within the park. The work of the park involves caring and breeding these animals in the park and educating public of the true national treasure that PNG holds in the country. There truly is nowhere else like PNG in the world. You're watching TVWAN News. When we return, we'll have news from overseas.
Experience a convenient and smarter way to do your banking with BSB Mobile Banking. You don't have to leave the office or your home to pay for bills. You can view your account balance, transfer funds, top up phone credits, or purchase Easy Pay units wherever you are. Visit your BSB branch today to register now for BSB Mobile Banking. BSB Mobile Banking, the smarter way to bank. BSB, our bank, our people.
Great Crusade of Miracles and Power with Pastor Jonathan Pine.
I can't hear well. So what I did, I put the miracle water inside and I kept on praying, spraying all the time and praying at the same time. So now I can hear you whisper out there, so I can tell you what you're whispering about.
Join us at Sir Ignatius College Sports Stadium on Saturday, March 4th at 10 a.m. Call now to reserve your seat. 7422-9960 or 7899-8678.
When you're spending time with family, when you've got a big day ahead, when you have given it all you've got, when you're putting on a feast, that's when you want the best. That's when you want flame rice. New flame rice. Win him, Olgeta.
He says the best Hunters players come from his region. So does she. But there's one thing that brings everyone together. SB Lager. Bongum Yumi. Cheers to 70 years.
Whatever you need for your building and home improvements, we got you covered. Hardware House. We supply high-quality professional tools, plumbing and electrical supplies, homeware and outdoor products, paints, building materials, and much more, all at affordable prices. And with our experienced staff, we will provide you with the right advice and help you need. So for all your building and home improvement needs, Bayuki Simware, Hardware House. Quality at affordable prices.
Welcome back. Turning overseas news, an ABC investigation has uncovered questionable payments involving a powerful Papua New Guinea official in charge of a massive Australian government-funded project. The payments were made by a Gold Coast businessman working for a multinational company when it won big Papua New Guinea ports contracts. Experts say the case will trouble the Australian government, which is now pouring more than $500 million of aid and loans into Papua New Guinea ports.
I'll tell you what, I told you to make an appointment.
In Australia, businessman Don Matheson has a checkered record, which includes failing to pay taxes. In Papua New Guinea, he's a government consultant with friends in high places. One of them was Fago Kiniafa, boss of the PNG Ports Corporation, which is receiving $620 million in Australian funding.
I'm open to partnership with anyone.
An ABC investigation has uncovered questionable dealings between Kiniafa and Matheson, which coincided with previous big ports contracts.
I think it should raise suspicions, yeah.
Leaked bank records from the Pandora Papers show Kiniafa and another official appeared to receive payments from Matheson in some kind of side venture. At the same time, Matheson was paid millions as a consultant for a multinational which closed a big deal with PNG Ports.
If you have amounts that are going to PNG Ports officials and those officials have had the opportunity to decide who gets the contract, then you potentially have a conflict of interest.
Kiniafa was murdered last year after a drunken dispute with a friend. His wife told the ABC that transactions with Matheson included free stays on the Gold Coast and equipment for her dental clinic.
Why do you think Matheson was paying for all this?
I wouldn't know. Like some of the things you've really caught me off guard. I don't know all this thing. I don't like it.
Mr. Matheson?
Yeah?
Can you explain these payments? Don Matheson denied involvement in anything unlawful, and his multinational client says it hired him for work outside PNG. PNG police say they're investigating the ABC's revelations.
Government contracts that go out are subject to scrutiny. Yes, we will definitely look at it.
PNG Ports didn't respond to questions from the ABC. The Australian government says it's committed to safeguarding taxpayer funds.
Federal police say they are targeting Australian bikie gangs who are working with international criminals to import methamphetamine from Afghanistan to Australia, with a spike in shipments of the drug since the Taliban takeover.
The AFP says more than 250 kilos of Afghan-produced methamphetamine has been seized before getting to Australia since 2021. The drugs had an estimated street value of more than $220 million. Police say the majority of the drugs were intercepted overseas, including in Pakistan. Last year, officers seized 26 kilos of Afghan-produced meth, most of which was destined for Sydney and hidden inside packages in the mail. The AFP says international criminals who are selling the drugs to bikie gangs are disguising its origin to make it easier to get into Australia.
What we're seeing is certainly an increase in the trend of this meth coming into Australia, which is being purchased here by the outlaw motorcycle gangs. But our real focus is on those organised crime groups overseas that are actually trying to bring it in. And our focus is to go and target these individuals overseas and try to stop it before it comes into Australia.
Today, the AFP officially opened a new forensics lab here in Sydney, which it says will be crucial in helping investigators identify drug imports and their origins. The lab features cutting-edge technology which police say will allow drugs, weapons and child abuse crimes to be solved faster. It's already been used to identify some of the Afghan-produced methamphetamine. The AFP says it's working with international law enforcement to track down the criminals involved in smuggling the drugs.
Evacuations are continuing in parts of the Northern Territory, with remote communities being moved to Darwin due to rising floodwaters.
Things do seem to be a bit more organised today as buses continue to transport people from Katherine to Howard Springs. I'm here at the Centre for National Resilience, which is where they're putting up those 700 people who have been displaced by the floods. It's an accommodation facility that was built to house around 850 people during the pandemic, but it's now been converted into an evacuation centre. Now, yesterday there was a bit of confusion around where they were sending people. You may have seen me out at Foskey's Pavilion for most of the day yesterday. That had been set up as an evacuation centre. They'd brought in, sorry, it's just started raining. They've brought in shower blocks, toilet blocks, but late in the afternoon they decided that Howard Springs would be the more comfortable option for those 700 people. Now, they're expecting 200 more people to arrive at this facility today by bus as well. Now, out in those flood-affected communities in Kalkarinji, the evacuations were moving slowly there as well. Obviously, only handfuls of people can be transported by helicopter and other light aircraft, but today the Australian Defence Force stepped in with their C-130 planes that carry 80 people, so that has certainly started getting the process moving a bit more. Now, the Police Commissioner Chalker spoke to us earlier today. He says that he expects everyone to be out by midday. I'm not sure how that progress is going, but it certainly looks like the evacuation is running smoothly today. There's forecast rain throughout the next few days. It's quite consistent up here in the Territory. You have moments of sunshine and then it keeps raining again. The river, however, in the Victoria River has started to recede, but you've seen some of those footage, I'm sure, in Kalkarinji and Dagaragu of the water just above the level, the roof level of houses. So it's going to take quite a few days for that water to recede and for emergency services to be able to get in there and assess the damage. And then I imagine the clean-up and the repair process will also take quite some time as well. So it'll be a long time, I think, until life returns to normal for these communities.
Doctors say they are already overstretched and the winding down of measures put in place for the pandemic is making matters worse.
As thousands of South Australians soak in the first post-pandemic festival season, it's a whole different feeling in the state's public hospitals.
COVID is here and continues to play havoc with our health system.
Havoc which the state's medical lobby says isn't being taken seriously.
Are seemingly being brushed under the carpet by many decision makers at the federal and state levels.
Respiratory clinics are winding down, which the Australian Medical Association says is putting more work on already overloaded general practitioners. And there's also concerns about the scrapping of SA Health's COVID coordination network.
There was a coordination of information so that we could all bring it together and have a coordinated approach, and that no longer exists.
But the state government is hoping to ease the load on a stretched system by focusing on recruitment. Health will be at the centre of a government plan to create 2,000 free vocational education places. But the question looms whether enough is being done to recruit graduates away from a competitive neighbour trying to lure nurses east.
We certainly want to engage in further discussions and dialogue about expansion of those fee-free places.
Public hospitals may also be fee-free, but comfort isn't guaranteed. These parents posted on social media saying they had to bring a pillow from home for their son undergoing overnight surgery at the Royal Adelaide Hospital.
First we had bed linen, now we've got pillows. I mean, what is next? Is it BYO bandages here in South Australia?
Sometimes there are issues in terms of supplies from the hospital centrally to particular wards.
The hospital says it will look into the issue.
The coronial inquest into the shooting death of 19-year-old Kumanjai Walker continues with the Deputy Commissioner of the Northern Territory Police forced questioned for the fifth day.
Police Commissioner Murray Smallpage is on the stand again for the fifth day in a row, giving evidence to the coronial inquest into the death of Kumanjai Walker. He's being asked about a series of changes Northern Territory Police have made since the shooting in 2019. He's told the court so far that he doesn't believe that there is systemic racism within the Northern Territory Police Force. He acknowledged that some members at times have shared racist views and sentiments, but that it's not a widespread attitude within the police force. He's also told the coroner that NT Police will continue to carry weapons in remote communities. Under questioning from barristers for Mr Walker's family and community, he was asked about the calls from communities for police to no longer carry weapons. He said that guns are an integral tool to policing, particularly in remote communities where calling for backup can sometimes take hours. He was also asked about the use of dogs when it came to apprehending offenders, and he's also told the coroner that dogs are a good tool for police officers when carrying out their duties. The Deputy Commissioner has also told the court about a series of conversations that senior executives of the Northern Territory Police have been having with every member of the police force above the rank of Senior Sergeant. He says the Commissioner is also now beginning conversations with every officer at the rank of Sergeant. He says that these conversations are crucial to the change in culture that the Northern Territory Police Force is trying to achieve.
The discovery of a diseased devil in Tasmania's northwest has proven the disease has spread further than previously thought, but despite that, there is still hope for the iconic marsupial.
A pristine part of the northwest where the invasion of a fatal disease was yet to be detected among local devils. Now, researchers aren't so sure.
This result is really disappointing, but in many ways it's inevitable.
A dead Tasmanian devil with devil facial tumour disease has been found in the area, about 20 kilometres from the closest previous case.
I cried and I was angry. Oh, I felt broken. It was really devastating.
Devil facial tumour disease is a contagious cancer transmitted through biting, and it's wiped out about 60 to 70% of the population. Now, researchers need to find out whether this case is isolated or the sign of wider spread.
We'll have ongoing monitoring in the area, so this will include trap release surveys in the far northwestern corner of the state to determine whether we pick up disease further west of the latest confirmed record.
When devil facial tumour disease was discovered in the 90s, there were fears it would wipe out the whole population. But some scientists believe that decline has levelled off and that devils are adapting to survive the disease.
Meaning that some animals can live up to 2 years with the disease. Some animals have managed to recover from infection without any human intervention.
So devils can learn to coexist with the disease, making the outlook for the carnivore much brighter than it once was.
And that ends the news segment. Here is the weather report for the next 24 hours. TV1 News returns for the sports news with Jasmine. Stay tuned.
Great Crusade of Miracles and Power with Pastor Jonathan Pine.
I can't hear well. So what I did, I put the miracle water inside and I kept on praying, spraying all the time and praying at the same time. And so now I can hear you whisper out there, so I can tell you what you're whispering about.
Join us at Sir Ignatius College Sports Stadium on Saturday, March 4th at 10 a.m. Call now to reserve your seat. 7422-9960 or 7899-8678.
He says the best Hunters players come from his region. So does she. But there's one thing that brings everyone together. SB Lager. Bongum Yumi. Cheers to 70 years.
No matter how hard I try, I always do something wrong.
Instead of thinking of your son, you'd rather get gold earrings made for your niece. Pay off your mother's loan if you really care about your uncle. Repay the favors he's done.
Pooja, they are good people, and they are willing to give you $1 million in advance.
I want you to win somebody's heart, my son.
Welcome back. In sports, a gender equality and social inclusive awareness workshop concluded today at the Holiday Inn, Port Moresby. Badminton Oceania Interplus and Badminton PNG collaborated with Oceania Gymnastics Union and PNG Gymnastics Federation to run the one-week workshop.
The Inclusive Gymbed 2023 workshop brought together representatives from NOPS and Callan Services who joined Gymbed staff and coaches for what had been an icebreaker for most of the participants. The session started on Monday with Inclusive and covered various common gender-based issues, disability inclusion and GBV and safeguarding. Gymbed's prime objective of running such workshops is to remove or reduce the barriers experienced by people with disability, particularly women and girls, to participate equally. Activities involve inclusion programs from the sport of gymnastics and badminton. The Inclusive Gymbed is part of Team Up, the Australian Government Sports for Development in Asia Pacific, comprising more than 30 partnerships across the region working towards a sustainable development goal. Participants were presented with certificates on Thursday, while Friday was more on Inclusive Gymbed team planning, policy and code of conduct updates. Oceania Badminton Development Manager Nadia Blicken said the workshop was a first and an eye-opener for the participants. Its main objectives are have basic understanding of the concepts of gender equality and social inclusion concepts, raise awareness about gender equity, child protection issues, and disability inclusion in PNG and why does it matter, and inclusion capacity of participants to integrate gender equity, diversity and inclusion in their work. Nadia said it was amazing to see them open up to express and share their experiences, but more importantly, learn how to approach and deal with stigmatization and other gender issues that they are confronted with on a day-to-day basis.
We have here our Gymbed program staff, our workforce, our athletes with disability who are involved in our para-badminton program. We also have our partners from Callan Services, from Special Olympics PNG and also from NOPS, National Orthotic and Prosthetic Services. So it's the first time we've all been able to meet face to face and it has been a really fantastic opportunity to share. And today, the final day, we have PNG ADP, Assembly of Disabled Persons, and really helping us better understand life for people with disabilities and how we can make our programs inclusive and welcoming to everyone.
Nadia also acknowledged and thanked partners and facilitators in their deliveries and presentation in the various sessions. The first couple of days were more gender and understanding the different identities and the values of communication.
And we also learned the difference between gender and sex and how whether you're a male or female, most things that we can achieve. So yeah, it really opened up a lot of eyes on that, and yeah, it's just really got us off to a great start to understand each of our partners better so that we can better work together to give better opportunities for people with disability and women and girls to be involved.
Nadia said Badminton Oceania is a partner in the program, but also have other important partners such as Interplus Australia, Oceania Gymnastics Union and PNG Gymnastic Federation and NOPS.
Callan Services for Persons with Disabilities was part of a one-week inclusive Jimbad workshop that concluded today in Port Moresby. The network of Callan Services is the largest provider of services to children and adults with disabilities in Papua New Guinea, with a particular focus on inclusive education and training. Valerie Jim, who works with Callan Services Inclusive Education Unit, was overwhelmed by the sessions and presentations at the workshop.
Invited to attend this workshop, and it has been really an eye-opener for us to really understand that yes, there are other groups and the partners that we are able to work together to assist children and adults with disabilities. I've also realized that though we all come from different groups and different countries, we have a same goal to achieve, which is working with persons with disability, assisting them to progress and engaging more of girls and women in the program to live a positive life, providing venues where we could get them to safe areas if they are being emotionally abused or going through the different types of abuses.
4 top teams will be contending for the converted Ipatas Cup and 50,000 kina at the Lay Rugby League Oval this weekend. Teams representing the eastern end are Morbe Pride and 14B Pirates, while the Western Challenge competitors are Homeland Saints from Western Highlands and Prum Panthers from Enga. Eastern Challenge coordinator Jim Milba said the first game on Saturday, March the 4th, set for 1 p.m. will see 14B Pirates take on Homeland Saints, while Prum Panthers will clash with Morbe Pride at 2:30 p.m. The winner of each of the 2 games will proceed to Sunday to play for the ultimate prize of 50,000 kina, while the loser of the 2 matches will play for the 3rd and 4th place. This is the finals of the 2021 to 2022 competition. The tournament was halted when the Digicel Cup resumed competition. Organizers are planning to kickstart the 2023 competition by October or November this year. Heading into the 3rd and finals weekend of 2023 Morbe Rugby Union pre-season 7s and 8 Mile Knights and Apan Dogs share the top post, leading the competition without a loss. Harley's Black East Vikings, Pirates 1, Cabrats 1, LB Zulus 2 and Harley's Yellow Trail but secure top 8 from the 24 teams competition.
Commissioner Joseph Wamapiri confirmed the finals after last weekend's playoffs. Wamapiri said the losers of the Cup quarterfinals is relegated to plate finals and winners advancing to the Cup semis and the grand final later on in the day. Game 1 quarterfinals is 8 Mile Knights square off with Harley Yellow, then Dogs meet LB Zulus 2. Harley's Blacks to test out Cabrats 1 in Game 3 of the Cup quarterfinals, and East Vikings run into Pirates 1 in the last Cup quarterfinals matches. Wamapiri said the bottom 8 playoff for the bowl is Igam Chiefs against Reds 1, Bitibam Mantis meet Harley's White, Royals play LB Zulus 1, and Igam Chiefs 2 go up against Sagasak. In the Women's Cup quarterfinals, Harley's Yellow clashed with KB Sisters and Harley's White challenged Defence. The Women's Cup quarterfinals Game 1 kicks off at 11:30 a.m. A select side from the preseason will be announced afterwards and goes into training for the upcoming Super 7 series of the PNG RFU. Following the completion of the MRU preseason, the season proper kicks off with the staging of the 10s competition in 2023 for Morbe Rugby Union.
And that ends the news for tonight. Over to you, Carol.
Thanks, Jasmine. Before we go, remember to apply the following simple measures to prevent transmission of the coronavirus. Regularly wash your hands with soap and water, cough or sneeze into your elbow, and exercise social distancing. If you are feeling sick, please stay at home. You can also call the COVID-19 hotline number for more information or assistance. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
The TVWAN News was proudly brought to you by BSP,
our bank, our people.